Welcome to an episode of Barman Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at the rest of the films in the Highlander series. Or at least the ones I own. I'm assuming they're not going to make any more, but you never know. Sometimes a series goes dormant for a decade or two, and they decide to revive it with a new main character, a whole new reboot, a new face on it, if you will. So maybe we'll see the Highlander franchise again someday. But for now, we should talk about Highlander, the Final Dimension. Note that in the US version, it's not called Highlander 3. They decided to just call it with a subtitle, The Final Dimension. I don't know where they even got the subtitle from, because there's nothing about traveling through dimensions at all in this film. So why The Final Dimension? I have no idea. It would have made more sense if they called it Highlander, the Sorcerer or something, you know? At least that made more sense. Oh wait, it's called that in some countries. Why not in the US? I have no idea. It's like trying to figure out why LA Street Fighters is also known as Ninja Turf. Okay, don't think about it. It's not worth pondering because you're just going to give yourself a headache. As far as the film itself goes, it's definitely a step up from the second film, which this film basically tries to erase from continuity altogether by basically being its own timeline that just completely bumps two out of existence. So, which might explain why they didn't want to call it Highlander 3, because that would require two actually still exist. And this one definitely would have retconned it because, Brenda dies because of a car crash in this one instead of radiation poisoning. But yeah, Highlander 3, The Final Dimension, and I'll call it 3 because I feel like it, um, basically copies the first film almost note for note. I've seen people argue otherwise, like, well, there's some original ideas. I'm like, well, yeah, there's some, but you could do a laundry list of all the major points and basically come to the conclusion that, yeah, they ripped off all the major beats, and there's just not much there for you. I mean, you got the training montage early on, you got the villain sleeping with a prostitute. I don't even know why they made that nod, but it's in there. It's more involved in the first movie, too, if you're into that kind of thing. It doesn't last long, so you're not going to see any penetration, because that would make it an actual porno, which some of those scenes definitely feel like they're trying to push themselves closer to. Um, Maybe they want to inspire people to make a porn parody. I don't know. Um, and the main villain, Kane, the sorcerer, because he stole his sorcerer's powers from Connor McLeod's former master, whose name I can't really pronounce right now because it sort of slips the mind because he's just not that important in the grand scheme of things, you know? He's not a standout character like Ramirez because Sean Connery can just steal any scene he's in practically. Um, but yeah, he likes to do the tongue thing too. So yeah, it's like let's take that from the Kurgan. Let's have him stick out his tongue and be a psychotic killer, just like the Kurgan was. Only we'll give him magic powers this time around. So yeah, our main villain's basically Kurgan 2.0. We have Hanky Panky in a flashback with Connor McLeod. We have Hanky Panky in the present as well, at least in the director's cut, because they add the sex scenes back in. Um, there's also a car scene where the main villain takes, someone close to Connor, as a hostage, and then drives him around playing chicken. Of course, with Kane's power of illusion, he can then make the victim think, they're going to crash into a big semi-truck or something, and they just phase right through it. So I guess you can argue they try to add a new twist onto it, but yeah, they're still just stealing that scene basically and making some slight modifications to it to add in Kane's powers. Because, if you're going to give your main villain powers over matter and stuff, you might as well have them use them a little bit, I mean, I guess they're technically illusions, but considering, it seems he steals sunglasses and stuff with them, I argue he can actually manipulate actual physical matter as well. At least it feels that way sometimes. You also have a scene where Connor almost loses his head, but then saves it last second, because Kane realizes, yes, he's actually on holy ground. He can't take the Highlander's head here, so he's like, shoot, I got patience, I can wait. I'll see you again later when you leave this place. And then, you have the main big fight at the end of the film. It's like, yep, Connor's losing. And at one point he picks up a pipe as if to make a reference back to the first film all over again. Not that helps us out this time. In the first film, whoever had controlled the pipe was winning the fight. In this one, not so much, but it was still there, and your brain will remember it. And obviously you have the sudden turn, the bow, where Connor goes from losing the fight seemingly to just dominating the fight and eventually takes Kane's head off. So yeah, the big problem with Highlander Final Dimension is it just copies so much from the first film that the few original ideas it does have are just drowned out by the repetition. I wouldn't say that makes it a bad film, But it does make it a very derivative film, and you're just gonna watch the superior version, which would be the original. So yeah, Highlander: The Final Dimension's not the worst thing you could sit down and watch, but honestly, if I was gonna watch The Final Dimension, I might as well just watch the original and just forget about it. Until next time, then. See ya.